scratch that. Martin Bryan here from my guitar channel. What I have today is the least expensive Epiphone Les Paul Studio. This one's so inexpensive it does not have a set neck. It has a bolt-on neck. And it's going to be interesting because the cherry one has a recessed bolt-on neck, and I ordered ebony, and I have some weird feeling that maybe the ebony was from a different model year, but I don't think this one has the recessed neck. But no big deal. I'm expecting this to be very similar to the very first Les Paul I ever had, which is back when Gibson owned Baldwin, and they were doing a music education series and selling at big box stores like Best Buy, super inexpensive versions of the Les Paul and the SG, where you could get a very intro model without an adjustable bridge for like $175, and that model had a bolt-on neck. So let's see what we have here. So Sweetwater does a nice job. I purchased it from them, and they ship everything in a nice outer box, and not just the triangle box. Usually when you're getting a budget guitar, you just get a triangle box and it's all beat up by the time you get it. This is not. Okay, it's really in there tight. We'll get the Epiphone swag in a minute. So this is the second part of the unboxing of the Les Paul Studio E1 from Epiphone. Couple of interesting things, right? So, well, I noticed a very small thing. There's just a blank here for covering the truss rod, and it doesn't indicate the model number. Not a big deal. One thing I expected was that it does have the bolt-on neck, and it is slightly recessed. I guess it just pops more when you're looking at the cherry version on the website, but this is slightly recessed. And it does not have Grover tuners, right? You know, Grover tuners would cost almost as much as the guitar did. So it's got just standard tuners. But unlike the first Les Paul I ever owned, which was from back when Gibson owned Baldwin Music, and they were selling very low entry-level versions of the Les Paul and the SG at Best Buy, and part of the proceeds were going back to music education. So the one I bought at that point did not have the adjustable tailpiece, or just not the adjustable ABR bridge, it just had a lock tailpiece. You'll also notice this has very little carve on it at all. I was holding it up next to my Les Paul Studio, or excuse me, my Les Paul Standard Gibson 2020 Inspired By, which is very, very close to Gibson Les Paul Standard, and you notice a couple things right away. The dot inlays instead of the block inlays, and then the carve on this top is very small. So really it's just kind of the mahogany body, a very slight carve, so it's much smaller width-wise and much lighter than a typical Les Paul spec guitar from Epiphone. All right, let's try and adjust the camera without knocking everything over. So I'm going to go ahead and try and tune this up. It does say Les Paul indeed. So the tuners work, but they're definitely not Grovers, right? They're not as smooth. I don't have it plugged in, but let's just strum a few chords. And the fret ends feel pretty good. Just running down the major scale here in C. Let's check the intonation, and that'll be the last thing that we do here. Right on the money for the E string. Good for the A. Right on the money, so it almost makes me wonder if Sweetwater did some kind of pre-setup on this thing. So first impressions, definitely 269 is missing a lot of the features that are on a Epiphone Studio Les Paul, or certainly the standard. We kind of went through those before, but in terms of things that impress me, fret ends are great. Seems initially like it plays really well, and the light feel is really kind of nice. And I think it looks pretty good. No obvious issues with the fit and finish. There's no binding on this thing, so there's less to go wrong. But initial impressions from the unboxing is well worth the $269.